Self-sabotage is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people just fail with weight loss and fitness in general. They may start on a good note, but a few days, a few weeks go by, and they just end up self-sabotaging themselves and quit or just start a whole different thing. Well, today I'm going to tell you exactly why this happens, four ways why this happens, and what you can do differently to not self-sabotage yourself. And before I get into this, if you're watching me on the live or the replay, just type live or replay down below so I know when you saw this video and when you got this information. And make sure you like the video and share with your friends and family so they can actually see this video themselves and get this information. So one of the first reasons why people may self-sabotage themselves is they just deprive themselves way too much from the beginning. They get a whole weight loss, they get a health kick, they start depriving all their favorite foods, they start depriving themselves from social situations, gatherings, birthday parties, restaurants, wherever it is. And they may actually be successful for a few days or a week, but a few weeks go by and they end up just going back to their old ways because it is not sustainable. They may end up cut out all carbs from the nutrition. They just eat no sugar, none of their favorite foods. They end up eating chicken and broccoli every single meal, and they get nowhere because that is not sustainable because they don't enjoy themselves. So what I would recommend is to actually prioritize sustainability and enjoyment from day one. Because if you go into this in a way of allowing yourself more instead of depriving yourself more, you will not only be more successful, but you will eliminate the possibility of that yo-yo cycle that keeps happening over and over again because people tend to just restrict and deprive themselves to the absolute limit from day one. When in reality, if they were taking a little step back and just take an easier approach, a more sustainable approach, they would not see the crazy numbers on the scale they actually want to see, but they would see more increments, more sustainability, more consistency in smaller numbers, and end up as a result, reaching their goals much easier and in a bigger picture, much quicker because they won't go off track and just restart over and over again. So depriving yourself is one of the biggest reasons why people self-sabotage themselves. And if you found yourself to maybe deprive yourself way too much. I know I have when I was losing my over 130 pounds. Just type deprive down below so I know I'm not the only person that goes through this. And the second reason is self-comparison. And you may be on a great path. You're actually losing weight, you're feeling better, you're looking better, your clothes are fitting better, but you see somebody else that you think is doing better than you, and you end up comparing yourself to them. And as a result, you put yourself down. Your progress now seems like it's not good enough, and you end up doing more by means of more restrictions, more eliminations, more physical activity, more caloric restrictions, all of these things. And self comparison should be only used as friendly competition at most because no two people are the same, right? So people have to look at somebody else and just let that person be themselves. You have to focus on yourself because this is your life, this is your progress, this is just you. So you have to be a bit better today than you were yesterday. Just a little bit, but that little bit has to be compared to yourself from before, not to anybody else, because you will never be anybody else. And this is actually personal to me because this kept me stuck for years. I saw somebody else on maybe social media, magazines, websites, and I thought to myself, I want to be or I want to look like that person. So I looked at myself in the mirror and I told myself, like, you got to do better. You got to do more. You got to eat less. You got to try different kinds of diets, cleanses, all these things. And the more I compared myself to that person, the more I felt like I'm not good enough. And the more I kept being stuck in the same place because I kept trying these different things. And then a few weeks or maybe a few months went by and I was still nowhere close to that person. And I just beat myself up as a result. So comparing yourself should be only done to yourself, not to anybody else, because you will never be that person. And once I got this click in my mindset, it just completely accelerated my progress. The third thing that stops or that maybe people self-sabotage themselves with is the belief that you're going to fail. Because maybe you tried this before and you failed. Maybe you tried something else before and you failed. And you have to understand that you got to go into this with absolute control, absolute confidence that you will succeed because that mentality is super important. You can't just think that you're going to fail because you've seen others fail, that you saw yourself fail before. This is not the right mindset because nobody else that's been successful in this is any different than you. You can be successful just as they were. You just got to be consistent. And if you give this effort, if you don't chase perfection, if you become consistent and you have the positive mindset to actually know that you will be successful, you don't know when it's going to be, but you will be successful. That consistency and that mentality will get you forward. But if you tell yourself, I can't do this, I'm going to fail, what's different this time? That's already a weak mindset that will get you off track. So be strong in your mentality. Know that you will be successful if you just stick with this, and nobody else that has achieved the progress that you want to achieve is anything special. You can be like that person or better than that person that you want to emulate or replicate, but you will not reach that goal if you have this negative mentality every single time. And the fourth reason why people may self-sabotage themselves is that they see a bit of progress and people around them begin to make certain comments. Oh, you can do this differently. You can try this diet instead. Try this exercise. It's better than what you're doing. And a lot of people hear this information and it sticks to them little by little to the point where it just gets them off track. You may see amazing progress for a couple of months, but if you let people's comments, and a lot of times it's negative comments, people hating on you, on your progress in their own kind of way. If you let these comments just hook onto you and actually result in you just changing the path or your direction, you will get off track. So if you hear somebody, I'll personally just block those people out of my life. That's just my own approach. But if you have certain people in your life, and it's more difficult when it's your family, but if you block those people out of your life, you block those comments, and you just stick to the right path because you know it's been successful before and it will keep being successful. You will be successful in what you want to do. But if you have these people around you actually make these comments and you let them keep making these comments, it will hook into you little by little and it will get you off track. So, negative comments from people, and you will get a lot of comments from people when you start changing your life. A lot of them will be positive, but you will get some negative comments. You'll get some people hating on your progress and some people telling you how you should do things differently because they're an expert all of a sudden. They haven't been able to do this by themselves before, but now they're an expert because they see you making progress. You will get a whole bunch of comments, but don't let these comments from these people actually get you off track, because the best way to deal with these people is have the comments go in one ear and out the other and just disregard them, be successful without listening to them, and that will shut them up point blank. So I hope this video was informative. I hope it was useful to you. And if it was, drop a fire emoji down below and share this video with somebody else, maybe on your timeline, so people can actually see this themselves and get this information. And before I end this video, I'm thinking about doing a second Q&A, maybe a couple of Q&As per week, but only if there's enough desire for this. People actually want me to do this. I don't know if there is enough for me to do a Q&A once or maybe twice a week, but if you want me to do a Q&A where I see your questions, I answer them, to the best of my ability, just type in Q&A down below so I personally can know that there's actually a need for this. And if there is, I'll do one. We'll pick a time and we'll make it happen. I'll see you next time.